We have new reports just dropped that reveal the Golden State Warriors, after a crazy trade deadline acquiring Jimmy Butler, are pursuing multiple players out there on the buyout market. Of course, roster spots have opened up and there's been some names already thrown around Golden State Warriors fandom, rumors, reports escalating, but now we know Golden State is looking to fill up those final roster spots. In fact, they will need to make one of these moves in order to fill those roster minimums, and we'll take a look at all the reported players that are linked to the Golden State Warriors in recent reports. So lots of stuff to discuss out here in this video, but folks, we are so close to that 9,000 subscriber milestone. So if you've tuned into the vids, you're enjoying the daily Golden State Warriors updates, and you want to miss a single thing that's happening going forward, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that's happening. Again, only 130 away, but let's dive into the news. Let's dive into what's going on here now at this point, as reports have come out that several teams, including the Golden State Warriors, are still exploring the possibility of adding talent to their roster. So this isn't new, and essentially after trading for Jimmy Butler and converting Quinten Post to a contract to a standard deal, the Warriors have 12 players on their active roster. Once action resumes after the All-Star break, the Golden State Warriors won't have long to reach that 14-player minimum requirement, meaning they'll have to be looking to add at least one player out there on the buyout market. So this is something that some people are, oh, why do we need to add talent? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Mike Dunleavy is going to be forced to make one of these moves just for those specific roster minimums. So it's a requirement that Golden State ends up signing one of these dudes that have popped up in recent rumors, reports, and everything that's been circulating around this Warriors team, and likely will end up adding two, because of course they want to make a push this season. You may as well take different things. There are some cap things to consider if you're going to sign multiple players. So Golden State is in a position where they need to bring in some guys, and there are a ton of names that are getting floated around, tossed around the buyout market in terms of discussions and reports and everything out there. So we'll discuss some of those names here right now. The Warriors are being patient when it comes to filling out the back end of their roster, since they are just $1.3 million below the first apron hard cap, and they will need to be smart about bringing in players with the pro-rated contracts to remain under this line. So the Golden State Warriors definitely don't want to go above that first apron tax threshold, as essentially that the first apron hard cap, because that would lead to some serious, regardless. I know a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, why on earth would Mike Dunleavy not want to spend the owner's money? It's a couple $1,000,000. Sure, it might be some extra taxes, but this has serious implications for the future of the Warriors if they do go over that tax line. There's a bunch of restrictions, including, the worst cases if you're multiple time over the repeater, your draft picks getting removed, what you can actually do in terms of trades and aggregating players and all of these types of things. So I get the Golden State Warriors wanting to be smart about essentially not going over that tax apron line, but of course they do want to bring in talent. They do want to bring in those elite pieces to make a push to close out this year for Golden State. So that's what Golden State's really looking to do, what they're looking to approach, and why it hasn't happened just yet. They want to make sure they're getting the right signing, the right player that fits the money moves that they're trying to make and stay under those cap gymnastics. But who are some of the players that are being named? Of course, you saw a few guys in the thumbnail, but there are quite a few players who make a whole lot of sense for the Warriors to add. Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Chris Boucher, Malcolm Brogdon, Tre Jones, and Bojan Bogdanovic are all notable players who could instantly help the Warriors or other teams around the league in their pursuit of making the playoffs. The only problem is almost all of those vets are expected to stay where they are. And this is a big thing, because I've made discussions on Malcolm Brogdon. I made discussions on, obviously, Lonnie Walker. Different videos out there for guys that are available out there in the free agent market. Larry Nance is another guy I've seen in our comment section. People bringing up a ton. Now, Brogdon seemed like he'd have a serious chance of getting bought out more than some of these other players, but it doesn't seem like, according to recent reports, he'll get bought out either. But there's been a ton of news, and I'll go back to this kind of list. David Griffin of the Minnesota Timberwolves, the New Orleans Pelicans, have said that Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown will stay on that roster. Kelly Olynyk also has a multi-year contract, so can write him out. Chris Boucher, long link to the Golden State Warriors, a former Golden State Warrior player. He is not getting bought out by the Toronto Raptors. Tre Jones, there isn't really incentive for the Bulls to buy him out here now at this point, so A lot of the names on that list aren't that likely to get bought out. But the one that is Bojan Bogdanovic, who Bogdanovic is the only player from that grouping that makes sense to be bought out. The 35-year-old forward is set to become a free agent in the summer, and the Nets just agreed to a buyout with Ben Simmons. However, Bojan Bogdanovic hasn't played at all yet this season due to left foot and left wrist surgery in the offseason, but he is a guy that I think is getting slept on in terms of his fit, in terms of his impact, in terms of what he can do for the Golden State Warriors coming in. Of course, he's dealing with some injuries. I don't want to assume that he's going to be healthy. We're talking if he gets back out there on the basketball court. Just a season and a half ago, this dude was averaging for the Detroit Pistons 20 points per game. Spacing the floor, doing a lot of stuff. Just a season ago, like halfway through last year, he was putting up some ridiculous numbers out there for the Detroit Pistons. 20 points per night. And the thing about it is, you can see his three-point shooting is elite. The guy shoots, over 43% from behind the three-point line out there in the corners. He's going to get a lot of looks like that, playing around Steph Curry, playing around Jimmy Butler out there on the Golden State Warriors. So that's an effective sort of part of his game. Just in general, his three-point shooting percentage is very, very solid. 41%, 37% once he got traded to the New York Knicks. But he's a guy that can space the floor and just be another offensive threat for the Warriors to throw in on a night where Podziemski isn't playing that well. For a night where Buddy Hield is struggling out there from the three-point line, Bojan Bogdanovic, if he can stay healthy, is a really nice guy to have like the 14th position on your team that can provide some offensive firepower, provide some offensive punch. So he's a guy that definitely to keep an eye out for Warriors fans. But also, one name to keep a close eye on is the 2018 first-round pick, Lonnie Walker, who has an escape clause in his EuroLeague contract with Zalgiris until February 18th. So we have 4 days to go, according to Mark Stein. Walker could be an interesting addition for any team with extra scoring and at the shooting guard position. So the next 4 days, don't be surprised to see Golden State try to bring in a guy like Lonnie Walker out there into the mix, out there into the group for Golden State, because, again, I already made a whole video, so I won't dive into everything crazy with him, but he's still a young guy. He's still a young piece that averaged just last year for the Brooklyn Nets 10 points per game, shot 38% from behind the three-point line. He's a three-floor spacer. He can slash. He's athletic. He's a very, very good basketball player. And frankly, the fact that he's out of the league is crazy given the fact he's just 26 years old. Has shown flashes of brilliance for different teams that he's been on out there in the NBA. So Lonnie Walker is definitely a piece that also, he shoots 45% on the corner. So he's a better three-point shooter than Bojan Bogdanovic. He's a guy that can floor space, can do a lot of things out there at that point, and frankly is my number one go-to target for the Golden State Warriors. I know there's a lot of names, a lot of stuff. People calling for Mike Dunleavy to make a move for Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton, Larry Nance, different names like that, but it's unlikely that those guys are going to be bought out. That's just the reality of what's going on with the options the Golden State Warriors have at play for their team. So it's a difficult situation. So realistically, with all the names that are being brought up, all the recent reports that are coming out, the Golden State Warriors are best apt to bring in a guy like Lonnie Walker to make everything work. Of course, that has to happen pretty soon in order to have that escape clause for the back to the NBA for Lonnie Walker. I'm surprised that he made it this far in terms of teams not giving him that signing, that look. But of course, he is that dude that a lot of Warriors fans want to see out there in the lineup. So let me know what you guys think about the Warriors' potential buyout candidates. Let me know in the comment section down below. You guys are the best thing this far. Again, we are so close to 9,000 subscribers. So if you are a part of the viewers that tuned in, for the latest news and haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you guys hit that sub button. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.